because Michael Ellis, who has worked with me on the Medical Innovation Bill and is taking the bill through the House of Commons as I take it through the House of Lords, has told me a lot about the Cynthia Spencer Hospice. And I must say, I've now had my visit and I've met the people who run this magnificent institution, and I found the visit extremely inspiring. I've also, it's inspiring on two levels. One, because the people here are truly amazing, and secondly, because having met several of the patients who are in the hospice, I go away, if this is humanly possible, even more determined that this bill which will become law. And I'm going away very encouraged by the fact that the government has taken on the Medical Innovation Bill, and it looks as though it will become an Act of Parliament and hopefully receive royal assent in the next session. And that this will encourage whoever is the person who is going to cure cancer, who probably is out there and might be a child now, it will encourage that person and give them the ability to pursue responsible innovation and make the world clear what is the difference between responsible innovation and reckless experimentation. And this, I think, is the legislative achievement of this bill, and I'm delighted and grateful to the Prime Minister and the Secretary of State for taking the bill forward as a government bill. Cancer is a remorseless, merciless disease, and it's relentless, and you can see that here clearly in the conversations that we've had with the patients. What these patients, and certainly their lovers and relatives and mothers and daughters and sons, want is some form of treatment which is going to give some hope. And at the moment that's very difficult to find in many of the most evil cancers. And what you find in this place is people who are devoted to looking after the lives of those who are afflicted by this vile disease. And they are an inspiration to me. And as I said, I'm leaving, and I'm sure Michael Ellis is too, absolutely determined in the rightness of pursuing the path of lawful innovation.
And lastly, what do you hope to achieve from this bill?
This bill is going to end a situation in which all cancer deaths are wasted lives. Right now, that is the situation. Science does not advance by 1 centimetre as a result of all the 165,000 deaths from cancer which took place last year, will take place this year, and will also take place next year. Why is that? It's because all the deceased receive is the standard procedure. And why is that? Because under the current law, if a doctor departs or deviates from the standard procedure and anything goes wrong, they are liable to be found guilty of medical negligence. In that culture, in that climate, it's very difficult for science to advance. So we hope, and I think the government is taking the bill forward because it believes it's true, that in order to advance a culture of innovation in the wonderful NHS, it's necessary to remove the uncertainty and lack of clarity about the difference between responsible innovation and recklessness. This bill does that in statute for the first time in medical history, and therefore I think it will play a great part in encouraging innovation.
Don't you think? Yes, I think it's really quite Should we go through? Yeah. I asked Lord Saatchi to come here because I recognise just what a wonderful beacon of hope and of excellence the Cynthia Spencer Hospice is. The staff here, the volunteers here, everything that happens here happens with devotion, with care, with drive, with passion, and with love, frankly. It really is a beacon of excellence in our NHS. And I've had a relative here whilst I've been a Member of Parliament, some few years ago, and I knew that firsthand, but I wanted Lord Saatchi to come just to see for himself the work that he's doing in the House of Lords and that I'm doing in the House of Commons to get this Medical Innovation Bill through is going to be valuable work. And I think he has felt that it's been very worthwhile.
You've done a lot of work with him on the Medical Innovation Bill. Why do you support it?
Well, I support it because I think it will do good work. I think it will achieve good things. And I'm pleased to say that the government feels that way too, because it started life as a private bill, which means it's the passion of a particular politician. But very rarely, private bills are adopted by the government. They're sort of, I want to say kidnapped, but that's not necessarily the right word. They are really welcomed by the government, and that's what's happened. And I'm glad that it's happened, because then the weight and authority of the government goes behind a measure, and it makes it infinitely more likely for it to get onto the statute books. So I'm delighted this particular bill of Maurice's and my own has really achieved those sorts of that sort of recognition from the government that they've decided to adopt it, and we're going to hope that we can get it onto the statute book just as soon as possible.
What is the next step?
Well, the next step is to find time in the legislative calendar to fit it in to the busy business of Parliament, and then it will need to go through the stages of the House of Commons and the House of Lords. It's completely non-political. This is not something that's going to divide party politics. This is about cancer, which affects everybody, and other life-limiting diseases as well. But I'm hoping that we can get it onto the statute books quite soon.
Are you confident?
I'm confident. I am quietly confident. I think the reality is that there's always pressures of parliamentary time. So my main concern at the moment is finding time for the bill in Parliament, as opposed to any challenge to whether the bill is valuable or not. I don't think it's likely to be deeply challenged for those reasons. Its main hurdle at the moment is finding time for it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Why is it that Saatchi is here today?
Okay. He has a personal interest in what we offer here in the hospice, but he's trying to take a bill through Parliament to think about how medicine can be more innovative and be supported, and we're happy to obviously host that event here.
How does it feel having him here in Cynthia Spencer Hospice today?
Yes, we're very pleased. We're always keen for people to come and see how we offer services, and we're very proud of what we offer here locally. And I know that both Michael Ellis and Lord Saatchi have been very impressed by the team ethos and the exposure they've been given to patients to talk through their experiences. So we welcome that.
How does the patients feel about him being here today? Have they enjoyed the experience of seeing him?
Yes, I think the patients have responded really well. Some patients have took time to look at the bill that he's taking forward and to give their views and perspectives. And I think that's really important, that he hears from patients directly and that they get an opportunity to really have that discussion.
And what do you think of the bill yourself?
I think we as a trust clearly are not in a position to comment on the bill directly, but what we do know is that we're very keen to promote what we do here locally, and our clinicians are very able to use innovation, and we support them to do that in the best interests of patients, and we would like that to be more available for patients across all pathways.